The music you're now hearing may accurately reflect how we imagine the Britain of 1914 to sound like. Entering this world in 1914 was a young man by the name of Kamal Chunchie. Chunchie came from Ceylon, or what is now known as Sri Lanka. The country had been a colony of the British Empire since 1815, and Chunchie had grown up in a relatively privileged colonial world. His father had been the leader of the Malay Muslims in Ceylon. Here is Tony, Chunchie's grandson, on his grandfather's faith.
He was a Muslim. He was brought up a very strict, devout Muslim, and he converted after the war. Or probably might have converted during it, because I don't think a lot of people realised at the time what it was like in the trenches.
Chunchie's father was certainly not pleased by his son's conversion.
Well, they put a fatwa on him. His name was crossed out of the Quran, and his brothers were given the job of hunting him down, which thankfully they never did.
Like many men of war, Chunchie didn't talk about his experiences in battle. Only a few details have been preserved by his family. Here's Tony again on how the war shortened Chunchie's life.
Being gassed, as far as I know, he was gassed a couple of times and shot, patch him up and send him back.
Chunchie served until the end of the war. In 1917 he was wounded and hospitalised in Malta for several months. This didn't deter him. He was eventually sent back to the front for fighting again. Photographs of him from the time, standing with his dark complexion as the only minority, break our conceptions of the White Tommy. In these images, Chunchie and his comrades are seen formally smiling and standing together, a seemingly unified picture of the Empire.
As far as I know, his main reason for coming was he felt it was his duty to fight for his king. They wanted him to become an officer, and he said no. He said he wanted to stay with his mates, the boys that he trained with.
Following the war, Chunchie confronted a darker side of the Empire in Britain. In the 1920s, he established the Coloured Men's Institute in Canning Town. London's sprawling docklands attracted many seamen who were taking leave from their lengthy naval journeys. Much of the labour on these ships was conducted by what was then known as men of colour. These black and Asian men often struggled to find food, shelter, and even simple hospitality. Some were left in London with no work at all. Being a man of religious fervour, Chunchie was inspired to set up a community centre for those of all backgrounds, and in particular those with families struggling to find respite and refuge. Locally, he became a popular and well-loved figure. His meat from the butchers was always bought for him. By the Second World War, funding had disappeared, and Chunchie resorted to running the Coloured Men's Institute from home.
What really hurt him was when it was disbanded, because he tried to run it from home. I can remember as a kid lorry loads of stuff arriving to be put into the garage, wooden toys for the children of the coloured seamen's families, and my grandmother and my grandfather literally tried to run the business from home, helping all the disadvantaged people that came to the country. But in the end it just got too much for him, and he found it difficult to get the sponsorship that they'd had when they had the building.
Chunchie made an impact to hundreds of lives as a citizen of London and served bravely as a soldier for the King and Empire. His family still recall the moment he passed away.
I mean, he died happily. I saw him the night before he died. I was living down in Sussex and at school, and I was brought back because obviously the surgeons had said he wouldn't last the night, and they came and I was there with the family. He was asked if there was anything he'd like, so he said yes, a glass of brandy and a cigar, and that was the way he went out.